Have you ever wondered if the way you think about money could be blocking your prosperity? Does it feel difficult to thrive financially, even when you're doing everything right? Maybe what's missing is an internal shift. In Buddhism, we learn that the way we think about the world and money profoundly impacts what we manifest in our practical lives. What you think about daily may be creating invisible blocks, preventing prosperity from flowing into your life. Want to know more? Today we'll uncover 5 common thought patterns that, according to Buddhist teachings, might be drawing poverty into your life. These thought patterns affect many people, often without them even realizing it. So at the end of the video, let us know in the comments which of these 5 patterns impacted you the most and how you see yourself dealing with this in your daily life. Or maybe you've already started transforming these thought patterns. Share your experience so others can learn from you too. In this video, we'll cover Buddhist practices and teachings that go beyond spirituality and show that money, far from being a negative thing, is a neutral tool that can be used to create a balanced and prosperous life. Buddhism believes that prosperity and harmony go hand in hand, and the first step toward this is to understand and transform the thoughts that limit our reality. From a practical perspective, we'll reveal how to change mental patterns that hold back financial progress and make room for what you truly desire. Most people don't realize how deeply ingrained thoughts about money can block the flow of prosperity. Beliefs like, "I'm not worthy of prosperity," or "success is only for the few," may seem harmless but end up creating a cycle of self-sabotage. It's possible you have these thoughts without even realizing it, yet they influence your actions and daily decisions, shaping your financial reality. In this video, I'll show you how these limiting patterns work, and more importantly, how to transform them so you can start attracting abundance into your life. This video is for anyone looking for a prosperous life aligned with Buddhist teachings, especially those who want to understand how thoughts affect material reality. And if you already feel that some of these errors might be present in your mindset, leave a comment on what resonates most. Your input could inspire others to recognize what they need to change. Are you ready to uncover the 5 thought patterns that may be limiting your financial potential? Prepare for a fresh perspective on money with practical, transformative tips to align your mindset with the prosperity you deserve. One of the strongest ideas in Buddhist teachings is that our minds create our reality. In other words, what we think and believe reflects concretely in our lives. In the financial context, this means that how we think about money, wealth, and prosperity can determine our experience with these aspects. This phenomenon is called a poverty mindset, a set of limiting thoughts and beliefs that prevents abundance from manifesting in our lives. The poverty mindset occurs when negative and limiting thoughts become patterns. For example, you might believe you'll never have enough, that wealth is out of reach, or that money only brings problems. Each of these thoughts creates invisible barriers, forming an unconscious self-sabotage that keeps us from thriving. In Buddhism, we learn that these patterns aren't absolute truths, but rather mental constructions we can question and transform. To understand how these beliefs affect financial reality, it's essential to remember that Buddhism views the world as interconnected. Everything we think and feel impacts our actions, and these actions influence the world around us. When we hold thoughts of scarcity, we start acting out of fear and insecurity, limiting our choices and opportunities. The fear of losing what we have or never obtaining what we want creates constant anxiety, complicating our relationship with money and filling it with frustration. These thoughts generate a self-perpetuating cycle of negativity. The more we believe money is scarce or hard to obtain, the harder it becomes. On the other hand, when we adjust our mindset to view money as a neutral tool and focus on thoughts of abundance, we begin opening doors to new possibilities. Of course, it's not enough just to think positively. According to Buddhism, internal transformation must be accompanied by consistent practices like meditation, compassion, and gratitude. A classic example taught in Buddhism is the concept of equanimity, meaning to maintain a balanced mind in the face of gains and losses. By cultivating equanimity, we stop reacting with fear or attachment to financial challenges and start developing a broader, more peaceful view of money. This practice helps break the cycle of a poverty mindset, bringing greater clarity to see opportunities where we once saw only limitations. With the right mindset, money ceases to be an obstacle and becomes a tool we can use consciously. Buddhism teaches us that prosperity isn't just material wealth, but a state of mind where our relationship with money and the world becomes healthier and more harmonious. So throughout this video, we'll learn to identify the 5 main thought patterns that reinforce a poverty mindset and transform them to make room for a more prosperous, balanced life. One of the most common and damaging mistakes in the poverty mindset is the belief that money is inherently bad or corrupt. Phrases like, "money is the root of all evil," resonate across cultures and have been adopted for generations, creating a negative view of financial prosperity. When we see money as something bad, it's natural for our minds to create resistance to it. After all, if we believe that money only brings problems or corrupts people, why would we want to attract it into our lives? In the Buddhist context, money is seen as a neutral tool. It is neither good nor bad. What matters is how we use it and the intention behind it. According to this view, the problem does not lie with money itself, but in the attachment and negative feelings it can trigger. When money is used consciously, it can be a positive force, allowing us to accomplish important things and help others. Therefore, when we think that money is the root of all evil, we limit our ability to use it beneficially. This belief also creates a cycle of self-sabotage. Imagine a person who believes that money makes people selfish or greedy. Unconsciously, they will begin to reject financial opportunities, such as promotions or chances to improve their life, out of fear that money will corrupt them. This type of self-sabotage is subtle but can deeply impact our relationship with work, money, and even our sense of purpose. Over time, this internal resistance blocks financial flow, leaving the person feeling stuck. Another effect of this belief is that it creates feelings of guilt about desiring prosperity. Many people feel ashamed or uncomfortable aspiring to a more comfortable lifestyle, seeing it as a form of selfishness. This guilt makes the pursuit of financial stability feel wrong, almost like a betrayal of spiritual values. However, Buddhism teaches that prosperity, when used wisely, can serve both personal and collective well-being. If a prosperous person uses their wealth to help others, they are, in fact, acting in harmony with Buddhist principles of compassion and generosity. To overcome this thought error, a recommended practice is reframing or reinterpreting the belief. Instead of seeing money as something corrupting, start viewing it as a tool that can be used to create positive things. A simple yet powerful exercise is to practice gratitude for the opportunities that money brings, such as stability, comfort, and the ability to help others. By developing a more balanced view of money, we begin to eliminate internal resistance and create a more open mental environment for prosperity. Another Buddhist practice that helps combat this mindset is compassion, both for oneself and others. When we feel envy or judgment regarding someone else's financial success, this reflects internal resistance. In this sense, practicing compassion is essential. By celebrating other people's success and prosperity, we create a more receptive energy field to attract abundance into our own lives. Buddhism calls this mudita, or joy for the well-being of others. When we feel genuine joy for others' success, we are simultaneously opening our minds to the possibility of being successful as well. Additionally, replacing thoughts like money is bad with money as a tool helps remove the negative weight associated with it. Repeating positive affirmations like, "I deserve to prosper and use money for good," may seem simple, but it has a powerful impact on mental reprogramming. Over time, this practice reduces resistance and creates a flow of acceptance regarding money, allowing it to enter our lives more easily. By transforming our relationship with money and recognizing that it can be a resource for good, we begin to overcome this limiting belief. Buddhism teaches that the path to prosperity involves a healthy balance between detachment and acceptance. When we stop seeing money as a necessary evil and start viewing it as a means to do good, we create a more open mindset for prosperity and new opportunities. Another common error in the poverty mindset is the belief that I am not worthy of prosperity. This thought may be subtle but has a deep, silent impact on how we approach opportunities and success. When someone believes, consciously or unconsciously, that they don't deserve to prosper, they tend to avoid or even reject opportunities for financial growth, constantly sabotaging themselves. Buddhism teaches that this belief of unworthiness is an illusion created by the mind and can be overcome through practices of self-compassion and acceptance. This belief is often formed in childhood or through life experiences that created feelings of rejection and inferiority. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where prosperity was seen as unattainable, or where others' financial success was viewed with suspicion. Over time, these feelings can create an internal barrier that blocks the flow of prosperity and prevents you from believing in your own worth. The result is a life full of self-imposed limitations. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about the innate nobility of all beings. According to this philosophy, we all have within us the potential for happiness, growth, and prosperity. The belief that I am not worthy is seen as an illusion that can be overcome with consistent self-compassion practices. Practicing self-compassion means recognizing that you deserve the same respect, care, and prosperity that you wish for others. This principle is an essential step in dismantling the belief that prosperity is not for you. To start transforming this belief, Buddhism recommends daily practices of self-reflection and positive affirmations. One technique is to set aside a few minutes in the morning to reflect on your worth and the good things you wish to attract. Saying phrases like, I deserve prosperity and well-being, to yourself may seem simple, but over time, these affirmations begin to replace the limiting belief of unworthiness. Repeating these mantras creates a more open mindset for success and helps reprogram the brain to accept abundance. Another important aspect is practicing giving and receiving. Often, the act of giving reminds us that we have something to offer and connects us to the flow of abundance. When we give something, whether it be money, time, or support, we are, in a way, acknowledging that we have value and that our contribution matters. The act of giving is thus a practical reminder that we are worthy of both contributing and receiving in return. This practice helps eliminate the belief that prosperity is for others, not for us. In Buddhism, the practice of giving and receiving is called dana, and it is one of the pillars of building a prosperous and balanced life. Dana teaches that by giving, we generate positive energy that connects us to the flow of prosperity. By doing this genuinely, without expecting something in return, the practice brings us closer to a state of wholeness. So by practicing generosity, we also train our minds to receive with gratitude when something is offered to us, recognizing our own worthiness. It is common for feelings of unworthiness to be accompanied by harsh self-criticism, where each mistake seems to reinforce the belief that we are not good enough. This is why an important Buddhist practice for overcoming this mentality is self-compassion meditation. During this meditation, visualize yourself as someone worthy of happiness, success, and prosperity, just like anyone else. Imagine yourself living in abundance, free from guilt or fear. This daily practice helps dissolve the belief of unworthiness and promotes a more compassionate view of yourself. Finally, when working to overcome the belief that we are not worthy, it is important to remember that prosperity begins within us. When we recognize our worth, we start to attract situations that reflect this confidence. Buddhism teaches that by connecting with our inner value and letting go of beliefs in unworthiness, we begin to create a life that is richer in every way, not just financially but also emotionally and spiritually. This transformation is what allows prosperity to flow naturally. The third thought error we will explore is the belief that I never have enough. This type of thinking is common and generates a continuous feeling of dissatisfaction and anxiety, as if it were never possible to reach the desired stability or security. This mindset creates a sense of scarcity that not only limits the flow of abundance, but also prevents us from valuing what we have already achieved. In Buddhism, this constant feeling of lack is seen as a source of suffering, as it keeps the mind trapped in desires and anxieties, blocking it from finding peace. This belief is rooted in attachment and the desire for something that always seems to be out of reach. When we think we never have enough, we remain constantly dissatisfied, even when our basic needs are met. This happens because by focusing on what is lacking, we fail to appreciate what we already possess. The feeling that it's never enough becomes a vicious cycle that consumes energy and impedes growth, as it creates a constant tension between what we have and what we desire. Buddhism teaches that one of the ways to overcome this mindset is through the practice of gratitude. By cultivating gratitude for everything we have, from the small things in daily life to larger accomplishments, we begin to replace feelings of lack with a sense of fullness. This simple yet powerful exercise helps train the mind to focus on the present, rather than obsessing over what is still missing. Gratitude is not just a practice of appreciation, but also a way to recognize the value of what we have already achieved, creating a sense of abundance. Another relevant Buddhist concept to combat the scarcity mindset is detachment. When we practice detachment, we learn to accept that things come and go and that nothing is permanent. This acceptance helps reduce anxiety and dependency on material gains, creating a lighter mindset that is less focused on lack. Detachment does not mean giving up financial goals, but rather developing a more balanced, less distressing relationship with money. It allows us to see finances as a part of life without letting them define our happiness or peace. A recommended practice for dealing with the feeling that it's never enough is gratitude meditation, which can be done daily. To do this, start your day by reflecting on 3 things you are grateful for, whether material, a personal achievement, or an important relationship in your life. For a few minutes, focus on these thoughts of gratitude, imagining yourself surrounded by a feeling of fullness. This exercise helps redirect the mind's focus to what is present and fulfilling in your life. Additionally, Buddhism teaches the practice of generosity as a way to cultivate an abundance mindset. When we share, whether it's our financial resources or even our time and support, we are connecting to a flow of exchange that reinforces the idea that there is enough for everyone. Generosity creates space for detachment and a sense of well-being that goes beyond personal gain. It teaches us that the value of a prosperous life is not only measured by what we accumulate, but also by what we are willing to give and share. The practice of mindfulness is also effective in dealing with the feeling of scarcity. When we practice mindfulness, we train our minds to focus on the present moment, which helps us perceive the value of what we already have. Instead of being consumed by the anxiety of achieving more, we can simply observe our needs and desires without attachment. Mindfulness allows us to become observers of our own thoughts, helping us recognize when we are falling into the trap of scarcity and redirecting focus to what is truly necessary and fulfilling. Finally, by working to transform the belief that I never have enough, we are not only making room for prosperity, but also promoting a more balanced and peaceful life. When we let go of this feeling of lack, we begin to attract opportunities in a more natural, less anxious way. Buddhism teaches that true prosperity is felt internally, as a state of contentment and harmony with what we have and who we are. It is this peace that allows the flow of abundance to enter our lives more consistently and fluidly. Another thought error that blocks prosperity is the belief that success is for the few. This type of mindset limits our potential and creates an invisible barrier between us and opportunities, making success seem like something reserved for other people. This belief arises from constant comparison with others and the idea that we are not capable of achieving the same results. In Buddhism, this view is considered an obstacle because it generates envy, insecurity, and feelings of inadequacy that distance us from our own ability to prosper. The mindset that success belongs to a minority can manifest in various ways. Perhaps you see someone prospering, and instead of feeling inspired, you automatically think that such success is beyond your reach. This thought creates an emotional barrier that makes any attempt at success seem pointless or futile. Over time, the person begins to internalize the idea that they are not good enough or do not deserve the same results, which leads to silent self-sabotage. Buddhism offers a powerful practice to deal with these feelings of comparison and inadequacy. The concept of mudita, or genuine joy for the happiness and success of others. When we practice mudita, we are actually training our minds to see others' success as a source of inspiration rather than resentment. This genuine feeling of joy for others' well-being helps dissolve the emotional barriers that prevent us from thriving, creating a more receptive and positive mindset. To begin transforming this belief, an effective technique is to observe your own thoughts whenever someone close to you achieves something. Instead of reacting with envy or resentment, allow yourself to feel happiness for that person. Practicing mudita is not only an expression of emotional generosity, it also helps to remind us that someone else's success does not lessen our own chances of prospering. The universe is vast, and Buddhism teaches us that there is abundance for everyone. Another important aspect is developing healthy self-confidence. When we believe that success is only for a select few, we are often expressing internal insecurities and doubts. Buddhism teaches that by recognizing our value and our capabilities, we are strengthening a solid foundation for success. A practical way to develop this confidence is to list your achievements, skills, and strengths. This simple exercise helps reinforce the belief that you are capable of achieving what you desire, dispelling the notion that success is limited to a privileged few. Practicing self-appreciation is also essential to counteract this mindset. By valuing your own accomplishments and acknowledging your efforts, you begin to see that success is not an unattainable privilege, but a reflection of effort and perseverance. The belief that success is for the few often ignores the hard work and dedication that are frequently behind others' achievements. Remembering that each person walks their own path, with unique challenges and lessons, helps maintain perspective and appreciate the process. Another Buddhist teaching that helps combat this mindset is the practice of detachment. When we practice detachment, we stop comparing our success to that of others and focus on our own development. Success is an individual journey, and by concentrating on our own progress, we allow the process to become lighter and more meaningful. Detachment helps us appreciate the journey and recognize that success has its own value, independent of any comparison. Finally, developing an abundance mindset is essential. By abandoning the idea that success is exclusive to a few, we open ourselves to the belief that it is something we can achieve in our own journey. This abundance mindset teaches that the universe is vast and that there is room for everyone. In Buddhism, this view is reinforced by the idea that everything is interconnected. If we are all interdependent, then one person's success can benefit and inspire everyone around them, creating a positive cycle. Transforming the belief that success is for the few into a view of inspiration and abundance not only brings more peace and balance to life, but also increases our own ability to thrive. By replacing comparison with inspiration and detachment, we open the door to a life where success is seen as something natural and accessible. In this way, prosperity ceases to be a distant privilege and becomes a real and tangible possibility. The fifth and final thought error we will explore is the tendency to focus exclusively on financial difficulties. This habit is common and creates a cycle of negativity, where each financial challenge seems to intensify and become the sole focus of our attention. When we concentrate our thoughts only on difficulties, the mind becomes attached to a scarcity mindset, making it difficult to envision new opportunities and solutions. In Buddhism, this attachment to difficulty is seen as a source of suffering, as the mind becomes trapped in limiting and anxious thoughts that block the path to peace and prosperity. This difficulty-focused mindset usually arises from constant worry about financial problems, such as bills to pay, accumulated debt, or the fear of losing what has been gained. While it is natural to be concerned with practical issues, when this worry becomes the center of our thoughts, it limits our vision and drains our energy. Over the long term, this pessimistic and difficulty-focused outlook hinders growth, as it blocks our perception of new possibilities and solutions. Buddhism teaches that one of the ways to overcome this mindset is through mindfulness. This practice helps us observe our thoughts and emotions without clinging to them, allowing us to see the situation with greater clarity and less emotional weight. With mindfulness practice, we can begin to recognize when we are caught in a worry cycle and redirect our focus to more productive actions and thoughts. For instance, upon realizing that you are being overwhelmed by financial worries, you can practice observing the present moment without judgment and reorient your energy toward thinking about solutions and alternatives. Another practice recommended in Buddhism is solution-focused meditation, which allows us to channel our thoughts toward concrete actions instead of becoming stuck on the problem. During this meditation, rather than concentrating on difficulties, we seek to visualize possible solutions and positive actions that can help improve the financial situation. This exercise helps the mind break free from the self-sabotage cycle and start viewing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth. Visualizing practical solutions, such as reevaluating the budget, cutting unnecessary expenses, or seeking additional sources of income, can reduce anxiety and create a sense of control over the situation. The practice of gratitude also plays an important role in shifting focus from difficulties to abundance. In Buddhism, gratitude is a way to acknowledge the value of what we already have, even when facing challenges. By setting aside a few minutes each day to reflect on small accomplishments and blessings in life, you begin to notice that there is more to be grateful for than to fear. This exercise does not eliminate financial challenges but helps balance perspective, allowing the mind to stay open to what is positive and to opportunities. Another Buddhist teaching that helps overcome the focus on difficulties is the practice of detachment from specific results. When we are overly focused on achieving a particular result, such as paying off all debt or reaching an exact amount of money, we tend to stress over any obstacle that arises. Detachment teaches us to accept the process and trust that, by following the right path and maintaining mental clarity, the results will come naturally. This way, we free ourselves from the weight of constant anxiety and create a lighter, more productive mental space. Moreover, Buddhism teaches us that difficulties are not permanent obstacles, but opportunities to exercise patience, resilience, and learning. When we view challenges from this perspective, we begin to face them with less resistance and more openness to finding creative solutions. With a more balanced approach, it becomes possible to confront financial difficulties without allowing them to become the center of our lives, enabling prosperity to flow more harmoniously. Finally, by shifting our focus from difficulties to opportunities, we are training ourselves to develop a more positive, growth-oriented mindset. Buddhism teaches us that when we keep an open and calm mind, we can attract solutions more naturally. This focus on solutions, gratitude, and detachment paves the way for a healthier relationship with money and a prosperous life, where difficulties are viewed as stepping stones towards success. Throughout this video, we explored 5 thought errors that, according to Buddhist teachings, can limit our relationship with money and block the flow of prosperity in our lives. Each of these errors, from viewing money as something negative to focusing solely on financial difficulties, creates invisible barriers, shaping our perception of wealth and preventing us from achieving the stability and peace we desire. Understanding and transforming these mental patterns is the first step toward creating a life where prosperity and balance go hand in hand. One of Buddhism's key lessons is that our mind can shape the reality we live in. When we cultivate an abundance mindset and develop practices like gratitude, detachment, and compassion, we start making room for prosperity to enter our lives in a natural and healthy way. By letting go of limiting beliefs, we begin to see money not as an end goal, but as a tool that can support our growth and the well-being of those around us. Now that you know these 5 thought errors, Consider this an invitation to start observing and questioning your own beliefs about money and success. Ask yourself, are any of these errors part of your thinking routine? And if so, what practices can you begin to implement to transform these beliefs? Changing these patterns takes time and requires patience, but with consistency, it is possible to create a prosperity mindset that supports your goals and well-being. If this content inspired you to make positive changes in your life, leave a comment below sharing which of the 5 errors resonated most with you. And if you have already applied any Buddhist practice to improve your relationship with money, share your experience so that others can benefit from your insights. This exchange of ideas and experiences is a way to inspire even more transformation and help strengthen our community of growth and prosperity. Transformation begins in the mind and manifests in actions, and Buddhism teaches us that balance between these two aspects is what truly leads to a prosperous life. Remember, prosperity is not just about material accumulation but about the contentment and inner harmony we feel when we see money as an ally rather than an obstacle. With this perspective, you not only create a healthier relationship with money, but also establish a solid foundation for a life of peace and fulfillment.